We're going to be unboxing a pair of Quoddy camp mocks that I recently purchased used on eBay. I like to purchase shoes used for several reasons. Number one, they're a lot cheaper. You can usually get things for at least 50% off and sometimes 75 to 85% off. Of course, you get what you pay for. These were about half price and they looked great on the eBay sale page. And I honestly did not expect them to come in the original box. As you can see, it says Quoddy, and they are canoe. They actually call it their canoe shoe. They don't call it a camp mock, but it's a camp mock. It would also be good for canoeing, I guess, in whiskey and 11 and a half. So that is my true size. My understanding is that Quoddy, um, like most of the Maine manufacturers, including Raincourt, are pretty much true to size. Whatever your measured size is, your the size shoe that you wear in a dress shoe, that's what you want to get with Quoddy. So let's open them up and see what we have. Well, I can tell you right now, they're absolutely beautiful. They're better than described. They're better than they looked in the photos on the website on eBay. And let's take a look at the bottoms. They look hardly used at all. I see zero sign of wear. There's not even any scuffing. I mean, I doubt these have even been worn outside. You can see they're marked Quoddy with their proprietary sole. And it's not a boat shoe, so it doesn't have the topsider laser snipes cut into it. It's a camp mock. And a little bit about the history of the camp mock is a camp in Maine jargon. I live in Portland, Maine, so I'm pretty familiar with camp jargon. A camp is you would call what you'd call a cottage in the Midwest. A camp is your vacation home. Now, it can be as simple as a campsite, and that was what the original camps were. They were campsites. You might have a wooden platform that you came and pitched your tent on. You might have an outhouse. That's pretty much the most basic. And then, of course, as the years went by, people began to build cabins, little stick frame buildings that you might call what many people would call a cottage. And then main camps eventually, many times, were built by wealthy people who built literal mansions. I've been in some camps up north that were built in the 1880s, and they're just spectacular. Beautiful, beautiful mansions. Every bit as nice as the Adirondack mansions that were built during the Gilded Age up in what is now Adirondack National Park. So a camp is just your summer home in the woods up north. And of course, your camp is going to be it's going to be in the forest. It's not going to be on a paved road. It's going to be on a dirt road. There aren't going to be sidewalks, and you're going to spend all your time walking around on the forest floor. And so you don't need shoes that are going to be built to hold up on sidewalks, that are going to be built to necessarily be built for rough terrain, although you're probably going to be doing some hiking up there. But these are for wearing around the camp. Maybe you're going to go out and cut wood in them. Maybe you're going to just sit on the porch with them. You're going to walk down to the dock if you're on a lake. And so they're built to be simple, comfortable, slip on and off. And that's what a camp mock is. It's to wear at your camp. Of course, you're not limited to wearing them at the camp. People wear them all over the place. But they were designed for wearing in the woods around your campsite or around your cottage, your camp. They're not a boat shoe. Of course, everybody's familiar with topsiders. The classic topsider is very similar. It's a moccasin. It's not a slip-on, although nobody ever laces their topsiders, so they essentially are a slip-on loafer. But they have two eyelets, and they can be tightened up a little more than these. These are not a whole lot adjustable. They claim that, yeah, you can tighten them up by tightening this, but essentially they are the size they are when you get them, and they're only going to get bigger. They're only going to stretch out. They'll never get smaller. So you want them to be snug when you buy them, and eventually they'll be the most comfortable shoes you wear, that you own. Now, again, I just can't get over the condition of these. You can see that the insole is has absolutely no wear on it whatsoever. These don't even look like they've been worn to me. I think somebody bought them from Quoddy. They just didn't fit into their wardrobe for whatever reason, and they stuck them in their closet, and eventually they sold them on eBay for half of what they paid, which is great. I love that. Thank you. Please, more people do that. It's got brass eyelets, obviously the leather um, tie. I don't like the way these are tied. They go up and down. Let me show you real quick how to tie. You make two loops. This is the easiest way. There's like 3 or 4 different ways, and some are just stupid complicated. But you make two loops, and then you just simply tie the two loops together like that. And then you fuss with it a little bit to make it tight and pretty. And as you can see, they go side to side, as opposed to this one, which was tied, I guess, with a regular old shoe bow, goes up and down, which you don't want that. They don't look right. You tie them like that. And then you have a pair of shoes that have their bows go side to side, which is what you want. So, proprietary sole made by Quoddy, very similar to the LL Bean sole, a little bit thicker than the LL Bean sole for their camp mocks. A nice pebbled finish on the bottom. Again, it's going to give you nice traction. Absolutely the perfect thing to wear in a forest, on the forest floor, which is grassy, um, around your camp, maybe a little bit of brush, but mostly like the Native Americans would have walked. It's a myth that America, the United States anyway, was forest when the Pilgrims came and when the Europeans came. It was mostly land that had been cleared by the Native Americans and was grassland with little pockets of forest here and there. It was managed in a way that was most advantageous to the Native Americans. And so the moccasins that they wore, of course, were very similar to these, except they didn't have a rubber sole, of course. They had just a leather sole. And of course, you can still get leather soled moccasins from Quoddy, from Raincourt, um, and from Goki. And those are really camp mocks because you'd wear them around your camp. And if you wear a leather soled, I mean, just a plain leather moccasin, a leather soled moccasin in the forest, you're never going to really wear them out because what wears out shoes, what wears out leather is contact with cement, asphalt, rocks. So they're going to last a long time at your camp. But these are much more flexible, much more versatile to have the ones that come with a rubber sole. And that's what you're mostly going to see. And that's what I prefer. I wear these around. I wear them all summer. I wear them with a no-show sock. Of course, you can still see the sock, but that's the right way to wear them in the summer is with a no-show sock. I think it's gross to wear them without socks, although trust me, I wore out many pair of topsiders wearing them with no socks in the 70s, and they just get gross. And these are just much too nice a shoes to ruin with bare feet. So get yourself some good no-show socks, and you'll keep your shoes looking great, feeling great, and smelling great. Let's take a little sniff test of these. Oh, these have, I do not think these have been worn more than a couple times indoors. They have that beautiful fresh leather smell. 11 and a half Ds. Made in USA, made in Lewiston, Maine, same place that raincoats are made. Lewiston has a tradition of hand-sewn shoe manufacturing. LL Bean used to make theirs there. And unfortunately, LL Bean, to be able to provide a less expensive product, to be a little more mass market, has shifted the manufacture of their very similar version of this shoe overseas. So, and I'll talk a little bit about a comparison between these and the LL Bean. I've had the LL Bean versions. I've had several pairs. I've had them with the two eyelets and I've had them with the slip-ons. They are a good shoe. They continue to be a good shoe. They're hand-sewn. They're just not hand-sewn in the USA. And they're about half the price of these Quaddys. They're about half the price of the raincoats that are still made hand-sewn in the US. In a way, it's a shame, but I totally respect the decision of LL Bean to make the product available to more people. It's as simple as that. And it's still a great shoe. It's unlined. This is fully lined. As you can see, that's just gorgeous, gorgeous calfskin lining. Um, a much, much nicer insole that appears to be sewn in of the same lining material. It's soft. There's a little bit of flex there. I suspect underneath that calfskin, there's a nice layer of some high quality foam. I'm sure they're going to be pretty comfortable. I actually have slipped them on and they're wonderfully, wonderfully comfortable. The LL Bean ones are unlined, which again is fine. It's a moccasin. It's a casual shoe, but it is nice to see the care that went into these Quaddys. They really are a work of art. I couldn't be more pleased with them. They're starting to get a little bit of the creases here that you'd expect. So somebody did wear them. But again, like I say, I doubt that they've been worn outside. And they just they look broke in, maybe just the beginning of being broken in. And I couldn't be happier with these. They certainly are. You get what you pay for with shoes. Not only is it just feel good to get shoes that are made in the United States by craftsmen who've been doing this sometimes for generations. I can tell you in Lewiston, Maine, there are generations and generations of hand sewers that live there. Their kids have gone into the shoe trade, the manufacturing shoes. Their grandparents manufactured shoes. It's a great, great tradition, and it's a great part of Maine heritage that's just super cool. And if you ever make it up to Maine, I know at least Rancourt has a factory store that you can visit and you can kind of see how they make these. And there's plenty of videos on YouTube that talk about and show how hand sewing is done. It's really a beautiful thing to watch. And I have tried these on. They fit like gloves. They're still not stretched out. They still are the way they came out of the factory. They fit a little bit snug, which is what you want because they will eventually mold to your foot and they will never get any smaller. So they will stretch out a little bit, and that's what you want. They will eventually become literally like slippers, and they will be this type of shoe will be the most comfortable shoe you own. Both LL Bean and Quoddy and Raincourt make a two eyelet version, at least just a two eyelet version. I think they may even make a three eyelet version. I'm not sure. And that's more, it looks a little more like a boat shoe. They still are basically camp mocks, but they can be tightened and adjusted a little bit more. So they are comfort and convenience level is a little higher with the two eyelet camp mocks because they can be adjusted tighter or looser in the vamp. And that is an advantage, and they can be slip-ons too. I mean, all the pairs that I ever had that had the eyelets, they were slip-on, slip-off. So in that sense, they're going to be functionally the same. I like the look of these a little bit better than the two eyelet ones. They have a little bit less of the topsider look and more of the rustic Maine woods look, which I really, really love.